In this lesson, we're going to look at the backing vocal oohs for Next to Me. Now, this is quite a difficult part to listen to and kind of do. It's quite sunk in the mix, so this is what I've got so far, but I think you're going to have to kind of look a bit further and just make sure that all my kind of pitches are right. Now, the way I'm hearing this at the moment is kind of like this two-part harmony, but I suspect it is a three-part harmony, but I'm struggling to pick out that third part. So if you manage to pick out that third part and you want to comment on that, that'd be brilliant. This is the general phrase here. So these are the notes. It's kind of E up to G and then goes to F and then A. This is the phrasing that I've got so far, and this is kind of general. And if you wanted to be really consistent about this and use this for each of the phrases, that would definitely 100% work. I've got it changing ever so slightly, so I'm hearing this downward slope on one of the parts here, and then I'm hearing this higher pitch downward slope on this part here. And once again, I'm not 100% sure about the notes. The rhythm is practically identical, but it's the notes that are kind of eluding me a little bit at the moment. But the best place to hear the ooh harmony is in this middle 8 section. Is probably the most clearest part where you can kind of hear it, and I am suspecting that it is almost an identical repeat, and that's what I've done here. I've just repeated each of these 6 times, like you can see. I can't hear it in this verse, I can't hear it in the intro, and I can't hear it in the first part of the verse 2. Okay, so another thing that I'm expressing my own concerns with in Logic at the moment is the quality of the choir ooh sounds, and I'm finding it very difficult to get a really decent ooh sound. So once again, if you manage to find a decent ooh sound in Logic and you want to post a comment for the ones that we should be looking at, that'd be brilliant, that'd be fantastic, because I've looked quite heavily and without using one of my external plugins, I am struggling with that. If I was in Cubase, I'd definitely be looking at Halion, and Halion has some fantastic choir sounds. Unfortunately, we're working Logic, so we're not going to pull in Halion for this particular one. That being said, it's an okay sound. This chamber choir sound, which is, I got it from the orchestral patch, choirs, and then this chamber choir. Now this is an EXS24 instrument. I have changed this ever so slightly. The phrasing of the envelope is, I brought the attack down and I brought the release down. It's quite a nice little roll off the note, so I have brought that down. You might want to play around with the release ever so slightly to make sure you get that kind of envelope just so. I've also pulled the sustain down to just, it drops the harshness a little bit on this particular sound, so that's what I've done there. Now it's really low in the mix, so I've brought it down, and I've also got it panned over to the left. That's where I'm hearing it at the moment. The next thing that we have, and I haven't adjusted the EQ at all, but I have changed the reverb across my whole mix now. And I am favouring this particular one a lot better than the one I was using, and it's got this really nice lush sound to it. I may change it again. I'm certainly happier with this one than I was the last one. And it's called Big String Reverb, and it can be found in the Space Designer plugin, and I haven't changed any of these parameters, so that it is what it is, and I've now applied that across all my mix. Okay, so I've re-input that as bus 6. The one thing I have also done is I've changed my stereo delay, and I'm really liking this stereo delay, and I've put this on a few channels now, and when we get to the mixing part of this course, I'll show you this bit more heavily, but I've used this stereo delay, and I've used it quite heavily across my tom drums, my backing vocals, and my normal vocals, and it's given me this really nice lush sound, and it's filling the space where it was before it was slightly empty. That's pretty much the instrument setup as is. Anything that I've done here, now I've played these parts in, I've then quantized them ever so slightly to get them in time with each other, and it's not looking too bad actually. I was quite happy to play these parts in, and I wanted to kind of work out the notes. So when I'm trying to work out notes, I do find it a lot easier to kind of set up a loop. So all I did was just set up my loop and then just keep playing them until I was happy with the notes I got. Another thing that I did in the early stages is map this out. Now I always use empty MIDI regions. So when I'm listening to the main track, which is this one here, when I'm listening through, if I suddenly hear the backing vocal at say bar 13, I'll quickly create an empty MIDI region, and I'll drag it out until I stop hearing it. So if I stop hearing it around here, I'll then drag out this MIDI region to fill that point. And that just tells me that later on I have to come back and I have to fill that data in. And I just find it's a lot easier to do that when I'm searching for notes and when I'm searching for kind of things. I find it a lot easier to first find out where those notes are during the listening stages, and then just map this whole process out. So that, for this particular track, I found massively useful. Once again, it's quite drowned in the mix, so it's quite difficult to hear. Okay, let's hear the sound. Now, it's not the best sound. It's okay. Once it's in the mix, it does work, but I'm pretty much 100% sure you can get a better ooze sound from an external plugin, or hopefully Logic's got a better one than the one I can find.
Me, ooh, next to me, ooh, next to me, ooh, you'll find him next to me.
Now, as you can hear, my mix is really starting to take shape now. I'm really happy with how it's shaping up now. Let's just hear that sound on its own. Okay, so once again, you might have to play around with those notes to get them absolutely right. That is definitely the phrasing that I'm hearing at the moment. This one here is a bit more tricky. There is this higher note coming in, so you might just have to play around and just make sure you get those. One thing I have been also using is on my iPhone, I've plugged in a tuner, and I'm just singing along with the part as I'm hearing it as well. That's also a useful trick, especially if you're a singer. So you can actually sing along with the part and find what the actual tuning is. And you've also got the score where you can look at the chords as well, which obviously helps. That's pretty much all I have to say about this track. Once again, it's a bit tricky. You are going to have to spend a bit of time just making sure you get it all in. And if you've got any comments about a better sound, please post them on the lesson. I'd love to hear from you on this one, because I think we could definitely improve this sound. Oh, did forget to play their version as well. So let's just play their version, just so that we can reference against that particular sound.
Next to me, next to me, you'll find him next to me.
Okay, and just play mine one last time before I let you guys get on.
Next to me, next to me, you'll find him next to me.
Okay, so I hope you found that useful, and I'll see you in the next lesson.